kind of give us an idea of what your schedule's like. What are you doing right now, and how it's changed in your preparation, given some of the circumstances and protocols.
Well, what we've done is gone to the office, and we're allowed this past week we're allowed to have 2 hours a week with our players. So on Monday and Thursdays, we have about a 30-minute meeting, and then we're actually allowed to go on the field and be with our players for 30 minutes. No contact, no ball, no. So we're allowed to individually take our quarterbacks, receivers, everybody else do individual drills and do drills with them, and that's it. So what we've done is we've kind of installed basically our first 15 practices for August, and we kind of did it in the spring through Zoom, and so now we're actually walking out there and kind of walking through that kind of stuff after individual. And then hopefully in August, we'll be able to do it again. So we're trying to three-peat everything.
Coach, one of the things that I've noticed throughout this whole situation is the leadership has actually stood up and stood tall, even though they haven't necessarily had a normal situation. You see Myles Brennan, you see Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall, some of the offensive leaders really take control of the team when you couldn't have these team organized activities. And actually, I think through organically, it actually helps the team. And now that leadership, we all know who exactly the leaders are.
I had to talk to them on Monday, and we talked about that. And it is, and you're exactly right. Number one, we talked about, hey, to be champions, or first of all, you got to have talent. Second of all, you got to have discipline on this team, which we had. And third thing is the leadership and taking control of your room and making sure everybody's doing the right things, making sure everybody's working hard and everything else. And our players have done that, since they've been back. Our quarterbacks have thrown the ball 3 days a week with receivers and tight ends and running backs. Our offensive line is out there doing not some one-on-one stuff, but just doing fundamental drills. So you know what? Right now it's a players only team. We get a chance to spend 30 minutes with them. And that's about it. So they have taken the initiative, and I'm excited about the quarterback room. I'm excited about the leadership in our offensive line room. I think Chris Curry's done a great job in the running back room, and Jamar and Terrence. So I'm liking where we're at leadership-wise, and I think we're not going to do anything but benefit from it.
Coach, how important is it that Myles has been around you, right, his whole time at LSU? Even though he will be a new starter, he is comfortable with everyone around him. He's done everything the right way. I've got to imagine that gives him a leg up to other new starters throughout the SEC.
I agree with you, and he's kind of taking that role on. I think probably the best thing that happened to him is spending 2 years behind Joe Burrow, and Myles is a natural leader. He really is. First of all, the team likes him. Everybody. He's kind of a guy who wants to please everybody, so they all like him. And kind of like he had to learn to demand that they do this, and he's done that. And we were watching film this morning on some of the installation and everything else, and I didn't realize the number of plays that Myles actually had a chance to get in ball games last year. And what we were doing offensively, it wasn't like just to run out the clock and run the football. He was able to throw the football and make plays. And if you don't go back and look at it, you kind of lose what he did. But he was very good when he was in the ball game.
Coach Steve Ensminger is our guest. Coach, how would you describe the differences in working with Scott Linehan as opposed to Joe Brady?
We've kept our schedule the same. Scott's really is in charge of our third down, our tight zone area, and everything else, and has input in our passing game in every aspect. But it's been good. We've kind of tried to expand it. Hey, we say, hey, we had a great offense and we had a great passing game. How do we make it better? And how do we move receivers around so they can't double team these guys? So he's brought a lot to the table. I've had a chance to watch a lot of his Dallas film, a lot of his Detroit film, and everything else. And the whole key is how do we move players around, and how do we take the system that we have right now and make it better? And I tell you, Scott's done a great job with it.
Coach, you and I were talking on the Coaches Caravan a couple of weeks ago, and you were talking about the offensive line, and you wanted to see a couple of guys step up and really push each other in those position battles. Liam Shanahan is a guy that Coach O has talked about in length the last couple of weeks, talking about him stepping up. Have you seen that from the offensive line overall as far as guys trying to step up and compete for some of these jobs?
I really have. I think we're excited about having Liam. I'm gonna tell you, he's an older guy, obviously very intelligent young man, and he has a great work ethic. But hey, our team has a great work ethic. So as he came in there, he just joined the group and everything else. And the beauty of it is what Coach O was talking about is, heck, he's played two positions already that we've evaluated on film, and he can play center. So there's some versatility there. Going into this year, we thought, okay, you lost 4 offensive linemen. What do you do? But you look at it and you say, okay, our left tackle coming back this year, he has game experience. Our left guard has game experience. Our Jason Hines has game experience. Austin Deckler has game experience. Now Liam brings some game experience to our 5th position, and it enables us to move centers and guards and everything else around. So it gives us more depth, and it gives the older, mature guy in the room that's a pretty darn good leader.
Hey, Coach, you think coming out of Evangel I could have gotten into Harvard and played football there?
You probably could, Hester, but there's no way I could have.
Coach, with Kevin Faulk on staff now, we know what he brings from a standpoint of coaching those players up. I'm wondering what he's brought to your room that he may have shared from his time in New England, whether it be schematics or philosophy.
Well, it's not as much schematics, but I tell you, we had 2 great conversations in the last 2 days about some of our running plays and how he viewed them and our landmarks and where the eyes should be and everything else. And some of the routes that, hey, this is how he saw it when he played. Great idea. You want to talk about, heck, I listened to him as a player. I mean, I listened to him. He's coaching me, and he said, well, should our eyes be here? Should our landmarks be here? And if it is, do we change the footwork of our quarterback and all that? And I love that meeting room. I love the ideas of asking Kevin. We sat down this morning and spent an hour on just our running tracks for our backs and quarterbacks. We had an individual period yesterday with no ball, but our running backs running routes, and we discussed how we're going to run them, the depth we're going to run them at. He brings a lot to the room, and I love he's there because I know this. Hell, I'm bright-eyed when I talk to him, so I know them players are.
Coach, that's something we talked about yesterday was the running back's ability last year, and we're talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, to be in these 2-man route combinations with the receivers, and it looked like he was a receiver out there. I always go back to the Florida play where Jamar Chase catches the touchdown that kind of puts a nail in the coffin there in that game. That's one of the more important part of this offense, isn't having the running backs have the ability to be out there as a receiver, to be ready to obviously catch the ball, but to run those routes in those 2-man route combinations to make it look natural and seamless.
There's no doubt. And, again, we talked about it this morning is, hey, I know those guys can run the football. All of them on this team can run the football, and I'm very confident in that. It's what they're going to bring to the passing game. And it's, I've seen, Chris Curry. I've seen his he has gotten so much better catching the football. He has worked at it. I've walked through the indoor leaving. He's down there catching balls from a quarterback. And it's in our choice games and the receiver. The running back reading the linebacker, reading the defense back, how they're going to play and get out of the break and make right decisions and everything else. We talked about this morning. That's something that they have to do every day. And it is a big deal when you're calling plays. It's who's in the ball game. He can't be there for third down, or he can be there for third down. So we're trying to make every one of them the total package, just like Clyde was.
One of the things that people are most excited about based off of last year and the year that Thaddeus Moss had is the use of the tight end, and we hear nothing but great things about Arik Gilbert and what a big recruit that he was. Coach, could you kind of describe what you've seen from him so far and some of the things that he may bring to this offense that are unique to his skill set?
He is a very good player. There's no doubt about it. He's I don't think he had to block a whole lot in high school, and and during the course of spring, he didn't go through spring. He's going to have to do some blocking for us. We're going to run this football. To set up play-action passes, and then we're going to put him in positions to get a one-on-one. The beauty of our tight end position is when you flex them out and defenses try to match it, it's usually the fourth defender having to cover him, meaning, hey, they're not going to cover him with corners. They're going to decide whether to put a safety on him or a linebacker on him. And so, hey, we're always looking for the mismatches. We're always looking for how do we match Jamar up here? How do we match Terrence up here? I think we have a chance now to say how we're going to match up Arik, or how they're going to play it, or they're going to play just dime. If they're going to play dime, we allow them to just run the ball every damn play, But if they're going to play nickel, they're going to play base, they're going to have a linebacker or a safety cover him. And you know what? I think his athletic ability, his speed, his ball skills, I think is a pretty good matchup for the Tigers.
Coach, we could sit here and talk about Jamar Chase all interview long because of what he did last year, what he's going to do this year. But Terrace Marshall, and you just mentioned him there, is one of the guys that if he doesn't get hurt last year, I would have loved to seen his numbers at the end of the year because they were already impressive even with missing a couple games there. And also Racey McMath seems like a guy that's ready to take over and be a starter on this football team as well. So can you kind of talk about the receivers behind Jamar Chase?
Well, and you lost me there, and the reason you lost me is because, as we're going through this, you think of Jamar last year, he was our X. He was into his boundary most of the time. We moved to the field in certain formations, everything else. But I'll be honest, I apologize here. We've moved him around this spring and in zooms and in different positions that, hell, I'd have to talk about every position to tell you that. It's one thing I do know, we're not going to line him up just an X and have defense to have a chance to double team him. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with Terrace Marshall. The one thing we're trying to improve on with our scheme is to move those two guys around, interchange them in the X and the F and the Z position, to where, hey, you know what, we're going to get our best matchup right here. And I agree with everything you're saying about Racey McMath. I think he's going to have a great year. The times he touched the ball last year was outstanding. The times that he's a big physical runner and everything else, and it's hard for people to press him. So those three receivers right there, I'm really excited about it. We just got to do a great job of putting them in different positions to make the defense adjust to it.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck to you as we get towards closer to when we can get started here, we hope. So have a great weekend, and thanks for spending some time with us.
I appreciate it. And Hester, you're abusing our friendship here, okay? I don't do interviews.
I know.
But hell, I never turn you down. So hey, leave me alone.
Hey, Coach, I know. I only ask you about once every 6 months. The last time it was a coach's caravan, and so only about every 6 months I'm going to bug you and ask you to come on here.
You got it, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach.